A group of soldiers stormed a small home, tearing it apart for valuables. But they didn't stop at looting. Inside, they found a young girl and forced her onto the bed, sexually assaulting her, ignoring her desperate cries for help. That night, they thought they had won. They didn't know. It was the beginning of their end. The story opens in a dark forest, where a terrified girl is running frantically, trying to escape from someone. Her entire body is drenched in blood. Deep within the forest, a witch appears. She grabs the girl by the throat and lifts her high into the air. At that very moment, the main character of the story, Olena, wakes up in shock. The girl we saw in the forest was actually Olena. She had been trapped in a nightmare. Here, we are introduced to Olena's husband. The two share a deep love and are living a happy life together. One day, while her husband is taking a bath, Olena calls one of her friends. She tells her, "Everything is going perfectly. I'm truly happy with my husband, and I want to spend the rest of my life with him." Later that night, when Olena's husband returns from work, the couple spends some beautiful moments together. Meanwhile, the news is playing on TV. A breaking report announces that Russia has launched attacks on multiple countries. After the invasion, Russian soldiers have made life unbearable for civilians. Even major nations have surrendered to Russia. The soldiers are storming into people's homes, brutally torturing them, committing atrocities, and beating them without mercy. Now, Russian troops have reached the area where Olena and her husband live. To protect her, he decides to secretly take her far away. They choose not to travel on the main road, but instead take a shortcut through the forest, unaware of the danger that awaits them there. Hidden deep in the woods, a group of Russian soldiers has set up camp. Their leader, Roberto, spots Olena and her husband's car and orders it to stop. The soldiers begin harassing Olena. They tell Roberto that the couple's car is in great condition, and with it, they could easily raid villages for supplies. "If we take the car and kill them, it will be just another routine job for us," one soldier sneers. Roberto agrees. A few soldiers then point their guns at Olena's husband and order him to step out of the vehicle. But in that tense moment, Olena's husband decides to fight back, and suddenly attacks them. Olena's husband keeps driving forward, ramming into the soldiers and trying to escape. Bullets rain down on their car as the Russian soldiers open fire. Somehow, they manage to get away, barely. One soldier who stood in front of the vehicle is crushed under the wheels, dying instantly. As night begins to fall, they decide not to travel any farther. Instead, they head to Olena's friend's house for shelter. Once inside, Olena discovers the heartbreaking truth. Her husband has been shot during the escape. He is gravely injured and collapses to the floor. Blood pours from his wound. The loss is too great, and before long, the poor man breathes his last. Olena is devastated. She breaks down, sobbing uncontrollably, unable to process the shock. Desperate, she tries to use her powers to bring him back, but nothing works. Grief quickly turns into rage. She carries her husband's body inside, cleans it gently, and makes a vow: she will not lay him to rest until she has taken her revenge. Her friend pleads with her, "This isn't right. You left all of that behind." Olena responds, her voice trembling but fierce, "I left it for him. But they killed him. And now that he's gone, I will not rest either." With that, she breaks open a hidden door, revealing a secret passage that leads into a cave. Inside is a small, dimly lit home surrounded by flickering candles. On her wrist is a strange strap, something meant to suppress her powers. She slices it off with a knife. At once, her magic surges back into her body. Her form shifts, and she transforms into what she truly is, a witch. She had always been one, but had abandoned her dark path for her husband's sake. Meanwhile, in the forest, Roberto orders his men to head into a nearby village at dawn. "Bring back whatever you can find," he commands. The soldiers obey without fear. They are well armed and armored. They storm homes, looting valuables, and beating anyone who resists. In one house, they find a young girl. They begin harassing her, ignoring her cries. After stealing the family's belongings, they commit vile acts against her, leaving her weeping in despair. Outside, a few soldiers wait for the others to return. A woman arrives on a bicycle and begins shouting insults at them. In a fit of rage, one soldier shoots her in the head. She dies instantly. When their raid is complete, the soldiers return to the forest, bringing the captured girl with them, intending to abuse her whenever they please. The scene shifts back to Olena. She walks to her car and collects a blood sample from it, the blood of the soldier who had tried to attack them earlier. One of those soldiers had died under the wheels, but another had survived. Olena takes the blood and begins a ritual. Far away, that soldier suddenly feels ill. His body convulses, and long strands of human hair begin forcing their way out of his mouth. Everyone around him is horrified, even he is terrified. A letter follows the hair, falling to the ground. In bold letters, it reads, "The forest will become your graveyard." Moments later, blood starts pouring from his eyes, nose, mouth, ears, everywhere. His agony ends only with death. The surviving soldiers bury his body quickly, fear gripping them. Shaken by what happened, they release the captive girl into the forest, hoping this act will somehow end the curse. The girl stumbles away, trying to find her way home, but a car stops in front of her. The driver is none other than Olena. She looks the girl in the eye and says, "If you want revenge, join me." Later, we see another soldier deep in the forest, relieving himself. Moments later, he notices blood seeping from his body. Panic sets in. It's clear, Olena is behind this too. Among the soldiers, one man sat quietly, staring at a photograph of his family. The more he looked, the more he longed to see them again. But he was helpless. There was no leaving Roberto's group. That night, while he slept, Olena crept silently toward him, ready to kill. But just before striking, her eyes fell on the photograph in his hands. Something inside her shifted. She left him alive, taking only the photo with her. She moved on, searching for her next victim. Soon, she spotted another soldier and decided to lure him. Throwing bundles of cash in front of him, she made him follow her like a moth to a flame. Blinded by greed, the soldier followed without question. By the next morning, the gruesome truth was revealed. Olena had tied the soldier to a tree, leaving him shivering in the freezing cold. He was covered in wounds, stripped of his clothes, and bleeding heavily. Then, in front of the other soldiers, Olena performed another ritual. The man's body began to convulse violently, until he exploded like a bomb, his remains scattering across the forest floor. Roberto, however, refused to believe in curses. "This is a trick of our enemies," he told his men. "They've planted explosives, and they're the ones killing our soldiers." Meanwhile, Olena prepared another ritual, this time targeting the soldier's family. Her friend tried once again to stop her. "I understand your pain," she pleaded, "but killing innocents won't bring him back. Take your revenge, but don't harm the innocent." Olena ignored her. Far away, the soldier received a horrific photograph, his wife and children lying lifeless. In desperation, he tried calling his wife, clinging to the hope she might still be alive. But no one answered. Shaken, he went to Roberto. "I have to go to my family," he begged. Roberto's answer was cold. "No, we have a war to fight." More pictures arrived, each one worse than the last. The soldier broke down in tears. Finally, unable to take any more, he decided to flee. He climbed into a vehicle and sped off. But Olena stepped into the road, blocking his path. Her presence froze him in terror. He slammed the vehicle into reverse without thinking, crushing several of his own comrades in the chaos. The remaining soldiers dragged him out, tied him up, and beat him mercilessly. As they buried the bodies of their dead, explosions suddenly ripped through the forest, Olena's doing once again. The soldiers scattered in panic. One soldier spotted a familiar sight, a bicycle. It was the same one the woman he had shot had been riding. And then, she appeared. The ghost of the woman emerged from the shadows, her face twisted and her eyes burning red. The soldier turned to run but tripped in his panic. Roberto appeared beside him, but it wasn't Roberto at all. The illusion melted away, revealing the vengeful spirit. She lunged, tearing the soldier's heart from his chest. Later, Olena feasted on the heart, savoring the satisfaction of another revenge fulfilled. Her friend confronted her again, but this time Olena's anger boiled over. She didn't want to hear any more pleas for mercy. The soldiers soon discovered something even more disturbing. Someone had dug up all the buried bodies of their fallen comrades. The truth became horrifyingly clear when they reached the village road. The corpses had been cut into small pieces and hung from the trees, swaying in the wind like grotesque decorations. One soldier, unable to bear the sight, raised his gun and shot himself in the head. At that moment, Roberto spotted a lone woman standing at the edge of the forest. The soldiers opened fire, but within moments, she vanished. It had been Olena. But this time, she wasn't unscathed. Multiple bullets had struck her. She staggered back to her friend's house, where her friend quickly removed the bullets from her body. Meanwhile, the soldiers found fresh blood in the forest. Following the trail, they realized their target was wounded, and close. The trail led them straight to the house of Olena's friend. 2 soldiers went inside while 2 remained on guard outside. Outside the house, Olena quietly casts a spell on the 2 soldiers standing guard. The magic twists their minds, turning them against each other. Their argument escalates rapidly, rage overtaking reason, until both decide to kill. One soldier seizes an opening. He raises his gun and shoots the other dead. Inside the house, the 2 soldiers who entered earlier were Roberto and another comrade. As they step in, they catch sight of themselves in a dusty mirror. The reflection is horrifying. One soldier's face is completely burned and disfigured. Roberto recoils in fear, his instincts taking over. Without hesitation, he kills the burned soldier. Hiding in the shadows, Roberto waits. When Olena enters, he lunges at her from behind, slamming her to the floor. He pins her down, attempting to violate her, but in that instant, his illusion shatters. It isn't Olena at all. It's one of his own men. The real Olena steps from the darkness. Before Roberto can react, she attacks with deadly precision, killing the soldier instantly. Olena's friend rushes in and blurts out shocking news. "I checked. You're going to be a mother. That's why you survived the gunshots. You have to protect your child." Before Olena can respond, Roberto bursts forward, grabbing her friend and pressing a gun to her head. Olena's eyes fill with fury. This time, she unleashes her full power, striking with such ferocity that Roberto is torn apart, his reign of terror ending in an instant. Shaken but relieved, Olena touches her stomach, now fully aware of the life growing inside her. She makes a decision. Leaving the horrors of the forest behind, Olena disappears from the world of witchcraft and magic. Months later, she gives birth to her child, raising them in peace, far from bloodshed and vengeance. For the sake of her child, she vows never to return to the dark path again. And thus, the story ends, with the witch who once brought death and fear now choosing life and love instead.